I wasn't supposed to have pets. That was the deal when I signed the lease. No dogs, no cats. Management was strict about it too. Random inspections, fines, even evictions if they caught you. But when I found Mimi, a tiny gray kitten abandoned near a gas station, I couldn't leave her behind. Then came Milo, a scrappy black cat with a torn ear. And 3 months ago, Mimi had a litter, 4 kittens. So yeah, I was way over the limit. I kept them hidden. Litter box tucked in the bathroom, a HEPA filter running 24/7. I made sure they were silent when the landlord came by. No one knew. And I liked it that way. The building was old. Brick. 5 stories tall in a neighborhood that used to be quiet. Lately, though, things had been off. It started with the woman 2 floors down. Her car got broken into. Nothing was taken, but she said the driver's seat was adjusted, like someone had sat in it, stared out the windshield. Then someone started pulling the fire alarms, twice in 1 week around 2 a.m. Both times we all had to evacuate and stand in the cold. No smoke, no fire. Just chaos. And then came the man by the lamppost. The first time I saw him, it was late. I was feeding the kittens, sitting on the floor by the window. I glanced out, and there he was, standing under the flickering streetlight across the road, staring up at my building, not moving, not walking, just standing there. I brushed it off, random guy, maybe drunk, but the next night he was there again. Same spot, same posture, staring up at my window, and the next night, and the next. By the 5th night, I stopped opening the blinds. He never came close, never knocked, never tried to get in. Just stood there. I didn't report it. What would I say? There's a guy looking at my window. The cops barely responded when my neighbor's bike got stolen. Still, I started getting paranoid. I turned off my lights before changing clothes. I double-checked every lock. The cats didn't seem bothered. Except Milo. He'd sit in the window, low growling deep in his throat. That's when I started hearing the noises. At night, just past 3 a.m., I'd hear footsteps in the hallway. Not pacing, just one pass. Slow, deliberate, and always stopping by my door. No knock, no sound after, just silence. A week later, I found a note. It was slipped under my door. No envelope. Just one sentence, printed in neat handwriting. I know it's in your apartment. My blood went cold. I checked the kittens. All safe. I looked through the peephole, but the hallway was empty. I didn't sleep that night. The next day, I called in sick to work, stayed home. Kept all the lights on. I barely blinked. My heart jumped at every creak the building made. That night, I taped a piece of thread across the door frame and wedged a spoon under the handle. Cheap tricks, but they'd tell me if the door opened. At 2:47 a.m., I woke to a sound, scratching, low, gentle, like a nail dragging down wood. I grabbed a flashlight, heart in my throat, and tiptoed to the front door. The thread was broken. The spoon was on the floor, but the door was still locked. I turned toward the living room, and the cats were all hiding, crammed under the couch, wide-eyed, ears flat. Milo was growling again. I crept to the window, pulled the curtain aside. No one was at the lamppost, but taped to the outside of my window was another note. I had to open it from inside. They cry when you're asleep. I still don't know how he got it there. I live on the 3rd floor. I moved 2 weeks later, broke the lease, took the fine, but before I left, I asked the neighbor across the hall, a quiet old woman who'd lived in the building for over 20 years, if she'd ever seen someone outside my window. She looked at me for a long time, then said, "He watches from that corner."
Hey there, Nocturnals. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to never miss a video. These aren't ghost stories. These actually happened. Keep watching to find out what really went wrong. It was supposed to be a quiet week. My parents had left for a trip to upstate New York, a cabin getaway that I didn't feel like attending. I was 21, had summer classes, and liked the idea of a week alone in the house. No nagging, no questions. Just me, the cat, and a fridge full of leftovers. I kept the doors locked. I kept the porch light on. I knew the routine. Our neighborhood was quiet, upper middle class, full of retirees and young families. The worst thing that happened last year was someone stealing a package off a doorstep. Still, the first few days went by slow, uneventful. I watched too much TV, played games, slept in. On Wednesday night, I took a late shower. Around midnight. The water pressure had been iffy lately, so I kept the bathroom window cracked to let out the steam. The bathroom faced our backyard, and beyond that was a line of trees that separated us from the next development over. As I got out of the shower, I heard something. A tap. I paused, towel halfway up my chest. Another tap. A little louder. I looked toward the window, half expecting a branch to be knocking against the siding. Instead, I saw a face. Not clearly, just the outline of one. Tall, too tall, like someone was standing on something to peer in from above. The glass fogged from inside, but I swear I saw eyes pressed to it, watching. I froze. Then it ducked. I rushed to the window, yanked it shut, and locked it. I ran to my bedroom, heart punching my ribs, and peeked out the blinds toward the backyard. Nothing. I barely slept that night. Kept a kitchen knife beside the bed. Thursday passed with no issues. I convinced myself I imagined it. Maybe it was just my reflection, distorted by the fog. But Friday night around 3 a.m., I heard the back gate creak open. It has a distinct sound, heavy, rusted. I crept downstairs and looked through the peephole in the back door. Nothing. Then I noticed the bathroom window again, slightly open. I turned on every light in the house and stayed up until morning. Saturday, I installed a motion light in the backyard. It didn't go off all day. Until 2 a.m., the light triggered. I was already up, watching a movie with headphones in. The sudden brightness made my skin crawl. I turned off the TV, crept to the window, and peeked out. No one. But the motion light was swinging slightly, like someone had walked under it. Sunday night, the last night before my parents came home, I felt more on edge than ever. I locked every door, window, latched the garage, and kept the motion light on. At 4 a.m., the cat started growling, not hissing, growling, low, steady, and facing the hallway. I grabbed my phone, turned on the flashlight, and followed his gaze. Down the hallway, the bathroom light was on. I didn't leave it on. As I stepped closer, I saw the window again, wide open. But what really made me freeze was the wet footprints on the bathroom floor, like someone had climbed in. I never saw anyone. Not that night, not again after that. But I'll never forget that window, the way it opened on its own, the footprints on the tile, or the way the cat growled like he saw something I couldn't. When my parents came home, I didn't say much, but I noticed they replaced the bathroom window a month later. Said they didn't like the way it opened. New videos every Thursday and Sunday. See you there.